Hey, what's up guys? John here. Can't sell my home is exploding on Google Trends.
The U.S. housing market is slowly dragging itself into 2026.
A new red flag in the housing market, mortgage delinquency.
Early this year, they began to rise.
Car repossessions through the roof, nearly double what they were during the great financial crisis to today.
Car repossessions are at their highest level since the Great Recession, with millions of Americans losing their vehicles.
The number of cars repossessed last year was 1.73 million across the nation. Okay. That was the highest since 2009.
And so when you look at what's happening in the auto market, the real estate market, consumer loans, credit cards, personal loans, it's pretty messy out there.
American household debt is at an all-time high.
The American consumer's debt problem just got bigger. $1.28 trillion in credit card debt, to be exact.
Things are getting pretty concerning. And a lot of people are anticipating a great financial crisis to the likes in which we haven't seen for 15 plus years.
The U.S. federal budget is on an unsustainable path.
We're gonna be broke really quickly unless we get serious about dealing with our spending issues.
And they say it's right on the horizon, and this is gonna change home ownership in this country. But the more that you pull back the curtain, the more that you look at the details, you'll see something even more shocking. And in this video, I'm going to break it down and show you exactly what that is. Because I think that this is, without a doubt, what comes next in America. So Redfin, this is on their website. Redfin, it's a buyer's market. America has 44% more home sellers than buyers, a near record gap. They claim that you have 1.961 million sellers as of January to 1.361 million buyers. So a huge disparity. They claim that nearly 1 in 7 home sales are falling through. It's a record, saying that nearly 40,000 home sale agreements nationwide were canceled in January. So the story is sellers are desperate. There's not that many buyers. 40,000 cancellations in January. This is the highest going back to 2017. So right from first glance, it seems like the housing market's in really big trouble. The economy's in really big trouble, job market's in really big trouble. But that's only a small portion of reality. More Americans are trying no-spend January as savings rate hits a 3-year low. January can be hard enough as a month. For many Americans, new calendar brings in freezing weather, like snowstorms that hit the East Coast over the weekend, a return to work from the festive season, and a mental reset. And some people make it even harder by piling on an extra challenge of the month, swearing things off like alcohol, sugar, and meat. This year, that list has a prominent addition, which is shopping. And so they're saying that more than a quarter of Americans have tried no-spend January at least once, pausing all discretionary spending and limiting purchases to essentials like bills and groceries for 31 days. 12% said they started one in 2026, with 44% respondents saying that it feels really expensive right now. So people are, they're really looking at how much money they're spending. But look at the housing market. So the average home price, we'll just call it 400 grand, right? $400,000. And with 20% down, which most first-time buyers are putting 10% or so down. But let's just say 20% down. Say that you're a buyer, you're putting $80,000 down, which is very challenging for most people. That's a $2,800 payment if you're buying in Austin, and you have perfect credit, by the way. So like if you have a 780 credit score or above, you might get 6.1%. But most people are probably, they're going to get around 6.5%. And, property taxes, 2%, home insurance, $2,500 a year. You're about $30,000, not including utilities, maintenance, repairs, things of that nature. Probably $3,500 to $4,000, out the door being a homeowner is what you're probably going to spend. But when you look at the amount of inventory that's been developed in a lot of these big cities the last couple of years, these developers are desperate. So they're offering massive concessions, and rents are falling in a really, really big way in places like Austin and other markets. You can get a nice apartment for $1,700, $1,800, $1,900, $2,200 a month. No down payment, no repairs, nothing. So what I think is going to happen is we're going to see insurance rates continue to tick up. We're going to see a lot more strain on Americans coming up with that down payment money, more people opting in to rent these apartments, and it's going to get a lot more challenging to qualify for mortgages. Like if you look at 2021, they were selling the Great Resignation, saying you deserve more. Your boss is getting too rich, he should give you 20%, 30% raise. And a lot of people quit their jobs, right? And maybe it was a good thing for some, maybe it was a bad thing for others, but a lot of people quit their jobs. When you qualify for a mortgage, you need 2 years stable income. Given the amount of disruption that's unfolding right now in the job market, AI and all these other elements unfolding, it's going to be harder and harder and harder to show 2 years stable income. So people would have to show 2 years stable income. They'd be willing to pay more on a monthly basis and have to have that down payment money. So what I think is going to happen is it's going to shift as it currently was on the housing market, where the middle market, the middle class, everyday American, they are the ones buying and selling all of the homes. Like if you look at the Great Financial Crisis, when that happened, you had millions of homes that went into foreclosure, and the middle class lost their homes. And then in 2012, 13, 14, 15, and onward, it was the middle class that bought them back up, for the most part. This time, I think we're going to walk into a unique change. So they claim now it's 35 to 38% more expensive to own than to rent. But this unique change is inflation. So $100,000 in 2020, they say, is worth $125,000 today. So if they're claiming that 20%, it says right here, this is from the Federal Reserve, produced unprecedented amounts of currency, with some reports stating that nearly 1/5 of all US dollars in existence were created in 2020. So if inflation is going to get worse, the government, they're spending $1 trillion every 100 days. That flight back to safety makes less sense. The safety is assets that produce income. And so this time around, I think what's going to happen is the people that sell their properties are going to be selling it to people that either have family money, that are going to come up with the down payments. They inherited, the lump sum to be able to buy that property in cash. It's going to be institutional investors. It's going to be, the few that are going to be buying it this time around. And what are they going to do when they buy it? Rent it back to the general public. This is why it's going to be very different than the Great Financial Crisis, in my view, where it's the middle class lose their homes, the middle class buy them back up. This time, it's going to be the middle class that lose their homes, the few that buy them back up. And what are they going to do with these properties? They're going to lease them. That's what they're going to do. Here, Yahoo News said corporations now own nearly 9% of residential land in the U.S. and could own 40% of rental homes by 2030. That's only 4 years from now. So they're saying they're going to increase to own 40% of rental homes by 2030. And so the question just becomes this here. If they're saying it's 35 to 38% more expensive to own than to rent, what does that look like? What does that disparity look like when they own 40% of rental homes? Do you think it's still going to be 35 to 38% cheaper to rent than own? No. It's going to get more expensive to rent. And why? Because renters won't have an option. They will have to pay. They will have to. And it's going to get too hard to buy going down, year, 2 years, 3 years. So I know everyone on social media is saying this big market crash is going to come in a year, 2 years, 3 years. But you just realized the rich, they're wealthy for one reason. They buy assets. They hold these assets over a long period of time. These assets produce income. They appreciate. They offer tax benefits. That's what they're going to do. They're going to take the depreciating currency. They're going to buy properties. They're going to rent them out. They're going to make money. That's what is going to happen. Now, what I find fascinating is they say that here, that they're going to, prices will rise as wealthier buyers and institutional investors, those with family support, continue purchasing, but while others will move to cheaper areas. The cheaper areas, mark my words, the next 4 or 5 years, will not be cheap anymore. Like it will be very hard to buy a home in America for $200 grand, $150,000 by 2030. I would bet anything on that. I think it's going to be hard to buy homes for even under $300,000 in almost all places in America. I think there's going to be a rush towards affordability. You're going to have the masses pursuing affordable living accommodations and investors chasing yield. So across the board, investors are going to buy beautiful homes alongside the beach and coastal communities, rental properties, distressed multifamily properties. They're going to buy commercial real estate. They're going to put their money to work because they know They know for a fact that $100,000 by 2030 will probably be worth $200,000, right? It's going to lose half its value. I would be shocked if it didn't work out that way, because the government is going to inflate their problems away. They're going to inflate their debt away by printing and printing and printing more and more and more of it. And so when you look at this big picture that they sell, they say that this is going to be this massive economic crash, this huge boom, that's just going to explode in the economy through AI and through all these different things. I think that the fear is the real poison. The fear is what's going to stop people from getting rich, investing, and building something. If right now you are renting and you have goals of home ownership, it's never been easier to build a business online. It's never been easier to get rich. In the 1970s, 80s, 90s, to build some real wealth before the internet was very challenging. If you weren't born into it, it was very, very, very challenging to build it, build some big business. Today, you could build a big business online. Like, you could easily build a big business, maybe not easily, but you could build a big business online with much more ease today than you could have 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And so there's no excuse to go out there and get the money. No excuse to go out there and invest. Because if you don't, these corporations, they will, right? They are going to own a lot of these properties. They are going to rent these properties back. And it just depends on what you want out of this equation. But at the end of the day, this is the reality that I think we're walking into. But I'm very curious as to what you think. What reality do you see over the next 2, 3, 4 years? Let's have a conversation about this below, and I'll catch you next video.